Greetings. It's been a while, few days. I'm trying to remember what I saw right before something about you have only 4 days left, blah, blah, blah. It's all you see everywhere. They're constantly trying to push you, make you do something, buy something. Yes, specifically buy something. I had a whole bunch wrote in the description and I clicked one wrong button and it went back to my previous save, which was what's in there now. And that's happened more than once. And once that happens, it's real difficult usually because you can't just try to remember what you said. That's faking it. Now that's not real, and it's frustrating when that happens. That was what it was, and then it just disappears. Now what? Let me just say the same words. Let me just remember the words. Nonsense. It isn't real. Well, that's what this world is. It isn't real. The sorcery, especially in businesses, is so strong. It's incredible. I can't unsee it. It'd be nice not to see it ever again, but that can't be so. The trickery, the tactics, the intention behind it all is just becoming more and more obvious and clear to me that that's all someone can be and care about and want. But they'll lie to themselves and believe their lie that they're doing it because they love people and care about people. That is the image of the beast. That is the lie that everyone has to believe. The alternative definition, the lie to everything, the alternative devil's definition to everything. The trick, the thing that sounds good, that makes you feel good because it's covering sin, not actually, but for intention. Covering sin makes someone feel good. That's why it's so universal and perfect and true and everywhere all the time with everything and everyone. No different. To see these things, it's to see what darkness is, which is evil. To run from it is like running, Jonah. No one can actually run. They have to drown and die. They have to be buried underwater. There's no escape. It's just a matter of time. In fact, the only reason they're not buried in water is because the Father has made it so before they were born, so that they could believe that they could escape. That's only happening because he made it to be that way. But if there is no ultimate escape, then there is no escape ever. Because if something happens, then that thing that, oh, that'll never happen, that's not true. That never was so or true. If something ends up happening, then it was always true. It doesn't matter how long it takes to happen. It doesn't matter if it takes 10 million years, the number doesn't matter. And the literal number is not the point, but people bank on numbers. Bigger is better, more numbers prove something. It's already who someone is and what their heart already believes. They just don't want to speak the truth to themselves, that that's who and what they are. They want to believe the lie that that's not what they are, while their works are proving that that's what they believe and are. For anyone that can see right in front of everyone, obvious works. No one ever looked at an orange tree and said, I'm confused. I don't know if this is an orange or an apple. So then when these real things are said, then all of a sudden it's hated and it's counted for prideful to just call an apple or an orange for an orange and say, I see the works. Isn't that how it's supposed to be? Isn't that what people do with the natural thing? Doesn't even cross their mind anything else except to call an orange for an orange. In fact, anything else would be stupid to them. They'd say, you're dumb, you're retarded if you call an orange an apple. What are you, blind? Now, when you do the spiritual thing of what this natural picture is, well, then it's hated. That can't be so. Now it's prideful and wicked to simply say that you see, speaking about spiritual things, the works, the only works that we read about, Messiah speaks about, not speaking of literal works, woodworking. That's not the works that he's speaking about. You will know them by their works. So then they hate his words and what it really means. They hate his word and what it really means. That's the truth that people can't face. They don't want to believe that because they already sold an image that they love it. That wouldn't be good for their image to be proven they hate it when they only sold that they loved it. That's a lot to see. It's a lot of self-denial to come still. I suppose we are going insane to some degree. Why aren't we speaking about a piece of rubber and, some kind of product? Actually, what is this? You never know what kind of symbols. I don't know what that is. And then the devil is in everything. The devil, like the devil's this, the devil's that. Isn't that crazy? Where do people come up with these names? They just sit there. They don't realize the evil that they're doing. They're sitting on a couch thinking about making money, thinking about their business. It's all the same for everyone. In business or out of business, the heart's the same. It doesn't matter. It just those that increase worldly, they just wax worse. It becomes more manifested. The judgment gets stronger. It becomes more obvious for those that can see. It doesn't mean they're better or worse than anyone. It's just that the judgment for sin that's increasing is increasing. And then it becomes more obvious for anyone that can see the proof, the proof of the judgment, the results, the judgments, because you usually, if you think naturally, if a kid gets a little beating, you see it. So there is something to see when someone's getting judged for, the love of money, greed. They will go blind. They won't be able to see that that's the only thing they're thinking about and caring about constantly. Then they tell you in their videos, in their podcast, in their image that they created, one person, two people, three persons. And it just goes back to the intention of why everything is being done, which is exactly what they'll constantly say they're not doing. And the more that someone has to desperately try to get someone to believe that, the more that they're actually doing exactly what they're saying they're not doing. They're doing. That's what they're doing. But because they're God, Almighty, Elohim Almighty, and say they're not doing that and have it on record even on a video or something, that means that they're God. It's true because they said so. Let there be light, and light is. Because they said that, it's automatically 100% true. Don't question me. I'm God. I'm Elohim Almighty. How dare you question me? I'm sure nobody's ever seen this before. Nobody's ever been, familiar with that. Nobody's ever seen that before. Never. So then they believe the lie. How often do you catch someone like they can't hold back a smirk or a laugh out of nowhere for what seemingly no reason? Nothing was funny. It doesn't make sense why. But then if you can see it, it's not really funny in reality, but it is somewhat funny to the person, but that's corrupt. Why it's funny is corrupt. Sin is funny to someone. That's why someone laughs and giggles and can't stop. They're laughing at themselves for their own stupidity and wickedness and lie that what they just said is so ridiculous, such a massive lie that they care about you or this or that, or they're doing this because they love people. And then they giggle, they laugh because they're lying. It's stupid to them, and it has to be. That's what the Creator's judgment is. Everything has to be hated and stupid and evil and contradicting when you're in sin. You can't have clarity or truth. It has to be utter foolishness. Then you believe the lie that if you do some natural thing, just keep saying, be positive, and then the world will give you back positive. What a strong sorcery. Why someone needs to believe that is because they're in desperate death, because they're in death and they need to believe that. That is a massive difference from truth. Only saying that because you need to believe that for yourself. And if you see others doing what you're saying or selling, then it's sort of a confirmation, that whatever you said is true. Therefore, always never ending trying to convince yourself that the lie is true. And it never works. You have to do it the rest of your life, and it gets worse and worse. Dumber and more hardened and stiff someone becomes. You become older and older, and it gets worse and worse. Blinder and blinder, more angry and more wrathful for absolutely worthless nothingness. Is that bothering anyone yet? That that's what this world is, who and what everyone is. I guess it's evil to talk about what trees produce, whether good or evil. You only do that with naturally in business, then it's good. If someone's selling a bunch of tobacco, that's their life. That's what they worship. That's what they need to create an image so that they're worshiped, so that they can make more money and be confirmed as gods, strong, right, and true. And if someone makes fun of their delusion, they're going to get very angry, and so will the one that just made fun of them. Someone that makes fun of their delusion, they're going to get wrathful and angry because that's their very cover from reality, from facing the Creator and their sins. That's their cover. Their mind has to be racing on the worldly things like that because it's a cover. It's a fake cover. It's Adam and Eve's cover. That's what has to be acknowledged. It's not to say that self has never done this. That's nonsense. Self is not needing to get better. Self is just perfectly overcome this already. No, who knows how much more there is to overcome constantly. But I see it, and that's what I see, and I see it as truth, and it's clear to me that that's why people are doing the things that they're doing. They can keep lying and lying to themselves that this is all a lie, that it's not true. They can keep telling themselves that, but the blind person with no eyes doesn't see anything, and he's trying to say someone with eyes is blind. That simply is telling them what they see. That's it. There's no pride in saying the truth. There's no pride in saying what you see when it's the truth, when it's done right, good intentions. But that's how it will come across as always to darkness, those that hate the truth. It can only look prideful and wicked. Plus, then they have the numbers on their side. The whole world is wicked. And what they're hearing, is very small and minority. Therefore, you're prideful. You're trying to be what I live for and am myself, which is to be something special. They accuse you of exactly what they are and are doing and want to do and prove they're trying to do and hope for and live for and breathe for, to be someone special, famous, rich, control people. Once a business gets big enough, they're desperately waiting to the point, hoping once they get big enough that they can just trash the customers and never respond to their emails, never respond to their, what so often is happening. This product is garbage. They're longing for the day that they can just crap on them. And they'll say that within their circle, hiding to themselves, just not in the open. And that's exactly what happens every time. And every single little business that's small and needs to start out, they all tell themselves that they won't be like that, right? And they all become that. They already were that before they became it. It's just a lie. It's a lie and a justification and an excuse to self to continue to want to love money and desperately hate the Creator and not believe in Him and trust Him for anything, and just desperately love money in the heart and want more and more and more. You have to lie to yourself so that you can continue to do what you do. It's a torment if you don't. It's a torment if you do. That's what judgment is. There is no good place or safe place. It's evil over here, it's evil over there. It's hated over here, it's hated over there. If you eat, you're guilty. If you don't eat, you're wicked. If you do, you're guilty. If you don't, you're guilty. That's the mind of sin. That's what it has to be. It can't love anything or understand anything in truth. John the Baptist did not come eating and drinking, in contrast to Messiah did, and they hated both. So what do they do themselves? Do they do something different than eating and drinking or not eating and drinking? Are there any other options? No, there's no other options. They're eating and drinking or they're not eating and drinking on some kind of diet, some kind of like strict fast or something. They're doing the one of the two. They just hate themselves. They just prove that they hate themselves. They hate everything that is who and what they are, and they just prove they hate it. It's just like happening constantly, all the time, with everything, everywhere. And people can't see it. How is it they can't see that they just prove that they hate themselves, and not in a good way, not hating the old man, but through judgment and death, hatred of yourself. Death, hatred of self. Not the good hatred for the old man's self. What we read of, whoever does not hate mother, brother, father, sister, and even your own soul, has nothing to do with the Messiah. If you don't hate everyone, you have nothing to do with Messiah, including hating our own soul. Nothing to do with him. Have they ever read that before? I guess they don't care. They don't know what it means. They don't want to know what it means. See, the heart is wicked. They don't want to know what it means. They don't want to know. It's not what they're going to be telling people in the church doors, Hello, we don't want to know the truth. We hate it. It's not going to happen. No. In fact, the evil and sin becomes so consistent because of knowing what it is, learning what it is. It's predictable, perfectly predictable. I guess that's what prophecy becomes. Because you know something that's given to see and know, then it becomes predictable. It's just, this is what must happen. This is the only options. Here it is in this situation. Here it is in that situation. Because you can see, and you know what that enmity is and how strong it is. So that's there is no last resort. That can never happen. Acknowledging truth, doing good can never happen. So you see that door and it's shut. What other way can someone do? Well, that's what the game they're playing constantly. That's what life is, a sick game constantly, of how I can think I get away with all my sin when I never do. No one knows how much death they're in that's in death, because the dead don't even know they're dead. It's what the dead is. The living know that they shall die, but the dead know nothing. What powerful words, my goodness. The living know that they shall die. What does it mean? They know that they have to die to who and what they are, to the old man. They know they're dying, which is good, but yeah, that's the narrow, difficult way. That's good. This has to be so. This is the only truth, but it's not good, in a different way, difficult, which is good, which is not good, which then will just start sounding contradicting to someone, because they're only watching and looking for the image and carnality and outward appearance and what something sounds like, and not its meaning, and from where it's coming from and what it's speaking of and what it's talking about for real. Only the living know that they have to die and will die and are dying. The dead know nothing. They don't know even that they're dying or what this death is. They'll talk about it. They'll sing about it. They'll put out music in Hollywood, and it's nothing but death. I mean, even when it's not death and death lyrics, it's still death. Even the positive is the lie to self and everyone else, that you can be positive and have life while you sin is a lie that can never be, will never be, and doesn't work in reality for anyone. Someone only continues to need to try to prove that it does work, to desperately try to believe that this lie over here, this sin over here makes, works, when it doesn't. It doesn't work. It's never going to work. It never is going to change because the Creator doesn't change. His judgments don't change. If you do the same thing, same result. It's a promise from above. That's it. Never changes. So then there needs to be a change, but it has to be a different change than what everyone thought and desperately tried to believe. There has to be a change. It's just not the change that everyone believes by default, which is trying to believe that there's some other way than the narrow way and the small little door that someone has to enter. And denial of self, utter denial of self. Betraying your own self, basically. The old man, needs to die. The living know that they shall die. The dead know nothing. They don't know of this knowledge, that what this is. They don't want to know it. They don't know it. They don't have anything to do with it. Their works, their intentions from the heart, and why they do anything and everything proves whether they believe this or not. It's already the proof. People don't like that, because what that means is you can't backtrack and just change your words. That means whatever you did it for a reason, and those are proofs for what the heart is, and you can't change it or ever change it or take it back. Once again, the whole world will believe you can change it and take it back. Then people make fun of each other and catch these things. Quite often someone says, oh, you're backtracking, backpedaling, and then they laugh because they're talking about themselves. What a sick world. What a incredible, what an evil, dark world that's never doing anything except sin. That's for everyone, for self, no good, can't do any good of self, just seeing it more, better every, day, acknowledging that more is more of a death to self. The living know that they shall die. The dead know nothing. And, what does it mean? What's it mean? No one can see how desperate they need to control someone or something or groups of people until it's given to see just how wicked and how bad it was. No one will ever acknowledge in death that they're trying to desperately control someone. It's not love. It has nothing to do with love. Once again, the world will believe the lie, and go all day like this. It will believe the lie that it does love someone through doing sin, which is not possible. It's not even possible. It's not possible. They're lying. That's why we read that. If you see this for real, I don't like saying the word assuming because to speak, sometimes you have to say what you don't want to. For an example, when we read, if you see someone doing this, assuming that's true, he's not talking about fake. If you really see what these words really mean, that has to be true, first of all, then they're lying. If you see someone hating another brother, I was going to say blah, 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 but that's not something to say blah, blah, blah to. That's evil. Yeah, even that has to go away. I mean, just every little finest detail, just this evil that just needs to come out and die. Sick. Nothing but evil. And the Creator is nothing but good, which is incomprehensible in reality. But, in a delusion, people can say, God is good, God is love. They have no clue what they're talking about, do they? They don't know what good is yet. They hate good. They've never loved good. They've never done good. Give me a break. God is love. They don't know what love is. That has to be learned. Adam and Eve don't know what love is until they need to start finding out what it's not and actually know with knowledge what it's not, which is not what the world is learning. It's learning how to hate people and murder people and find sin and splinters and swallow camels, important things, gulp, gone. But for the tiny, small things that need to be in their place, that have a purpose and importance, then they make that into the Tower of Babel, and it just keeps rising in confusion. They make that into everything. Straining at a gnat? Who doesn't strain at gnats every day? My goodness, that's all I see everywhere. Straining at gnats, swallowing at camels. The people's eyes need to be pried open. No, that won't work. It's just an expression, a worthless one, really. Where the world likes to say things like that. It just makes it feel good, makes it feel like its eyes are open because it says certain words. It's never been about that. That's prideful. That's shallow and insecure and lame and not the truth. That's why we read the apostle saying, not like this world, not with words, not wisdom and truth knowledge with words like this world. It's just words. That's it. Shallow, empty words, only words. That's what it's about, nothing else. Those words can only be good if the spiritual, real things are being done that line up with it, the works that line up with those words, and they become one. These two become one. But by itself, it's all sin and evil. That's what the image of the beast is. It just talks. It just says things, whatever it wants, to make you believe some things. It's spiritual transaction of buying and selling every single day, constantly. And it's happening literally. It manifests through business. But the spiritual meaning is not buying and selling literal products, but it's connected to that. It's very much connected to that, connected to everything. It's buying and selling a spiritual image in someone's mind, needing to get someone to believe something about themselves is what sin is. How could someone believe that's sin when that's all that they are from birth? You know, you're born black. How could someone believe that that's evil? That's who you are. You're born black. I can't deny myself. Can't say that I'm evil. No, I can't do that. So it is. Can't believe the lies anymore. Can't believe what people are doing, what businesses are doing, what this is doing, name it, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. I just use business as an example because it's a strong example. It's what 90% of the world is, isn't it? To make self gain, business. It's the hope, it's the lust for. Does this automatically mean there is no right way to do some kind of literal work in this world? No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not interested in even going there right now. That's not the point. Everyone has to find out for themselves. And of course, they'll believe whatever they're doing is good. They don't check with the Father. They don't care. They'll just believe that, yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah, I checked with the rain because I said so. Why? Because I said so. When? Today. I just said the words today. That means that I do what I said because I said the words today. Wow. Incredibly lost. That's lost. No clue what they're doing, what they're saying, what they're doing. It means nothing to just say the words. It doesn't mean someone's doing it. It doesn't mean someone's believing it and understanding it. Read the Bible and understand everything just because they read it. You think reading it another 50 times is going to do something for them. That's just that old self wanting to be God Almighty, Elohim Almighty, thinking because it does something of self that it's going to produce something of self, and it can't do any good of self. Just doesn't want to and cannot believe that. If it would deny itself, then the good things would start to be given when you're not even trying. That's what sin is. It's trying. It's what rest is resting from your own works, which is all life, all trying, all believing that you're good, trying to be good. It's resting from all your works, our own works, your works, meaning our own. Not resting from the Creator's works, resting from our own works, and their works do follow them. Sounds like a contradiction in Revelation. It's not. It just sounds like it to somebody. They rest from their, blessed are the dead who die from now on and rest from their works. Yet their labors, their works do follow them. Contradiction? No contradiction. No contradiction. They rest from their own wicked works, and the works, different works, the works from above do follow them. The good, discerning between the natural and the spiritual, two things, and what each one is and what it means and what it does and what its purpose is. And that's the rest of the Bible, basically. Contradictions, just like that. People don't want to acknowledge it. They want to say there's no contradictions because that's their cover. It's hiding everything that's true and good. That's part of their cover. Maybe it's a sock, it's a part of their cover. Then they got a bunch of other covers, different, all the covers for your body, for your sin, for the naked body representing sin. And that's Adam and Eve. They covered themselves and they thought it was good. And they believe it's good. And they think it works. And they think they can mock and trick the Creator. That's why we read he can't be mocked. Because everyone believes in darkness that he can be mocked. Their works prove it. Man, oh man, does some judgment just hit someone strong out in this world? All of a sudden their life is done. It's over. That could come anytime. When sin is being done, you never know when that real hard hit's gonna come. And the more prideful, but then there's plenty of people that he has patience on. And naturally they go on living to, 100 years old, 100 plus, they won't die. They're the cancers of the world, and they want more cancer to be in the world. They don't die, but they do die. And that's Father's patience on the wicked. As they increase carnally, we read that that's a struggle to see. That can be a struggle for a believer. That's what they have to overcome. Exactly that, is that they see the wicked increasing. We read it, increasing. They're increasing in sin, in carnal goods, merchandise. They're not increasing in anything good at all. They believe it's good. That's good to them. That's blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. If I say it enough times, it means it's true. So I'm going to tell the whole world, and, with all these cameras watching me, whatever famous person it is, because I say I'm blessed, I'm blessed. I don't care what my haters, my non-fans, someone that's worshiping different gods other than me, which I hate. I don't care what they say. Of course you do, you snake, you lying devil. You only care about all those things. That is your life. The image of the beast can only work around and care about those things. It's all fake. That's what the image is. It built its image and it can only care about that. It's like a bird saying, I don't care that I don't have two wings. Just take them from me. That's what makes it a bird. You can't take its two wings. Now what? It doesn't care at all that its wings are gone? Calling it out. Liars. It only cares what people think of them and their image. That's only what it works for. That's all that it works for, is creating some kind of fantastic image of the beast image that works a sorcery in people's mind to believe and lust for it and want it. And next thing you know, someone blows up. If somebody knows that they can't compete with popular product in that category, what do? If they kind of know they can't really compete or don't know if it's going to compete yet? You sell it for cheap. That's your sell. Then everyone will go, wow, this is great. This is so much cheaper than this thing, and it's as good or better. Right, that was their sell. That was their trick. That was their greed. They didn't do it for a good intention. It's business. It's out of evil always, darkness. They didn't do it because they care about people. That was their only hope or way in, is through the cheap sell, through business. I'll do it. What am I going to do? I can't compete here. Drop the price like a lot. Drop the exaggerated price. Drop the overinflated price. If they can make the similar thing, or even better, for way less and still make money, what does that say about that other product that's way up there in price? And it's no better or the same or even worse than the cheaper thing, which often does happen. Yeah, it exists. Everything exists. So then the other thing exists where it's not as good, and everything in between exists. That was their end. They had to do it. They had to put the price down. They didn't do it for good reasons. Give me a break. They didn't do it because they love humanity and desperately want to help humanity with another merchandise product, as if that's what people constantly need to receive, another product. Maybe that's going to save them this time. Maybe it's going to save them this time. That has to die too, more and more. It's nothing. It's not going to do anything for anyone, and we have to see that more and more and more and more and more. The more is revealed, the more there is to see, the more, wow, that was no good. That was blind. That was evil. And that's it. Constantly keeps going, constantly keeps seeing. People will just say the words real quick, then they're going back right to their delusion. Let me just eat my sandwich real quick and go back to what I was doing and watching and whatever. They just said that real quick just so they need to fix their image, to just get it over with. They literally think because they said it, it changed their reality, changed the judgment. That's how they work. I'm speaking out of how people work. Their works prove that they think that they can mock the Creator and change something because of saying some quick, cheap words. Never happened, never will happen. That's for them to hear. Never happened, never will happen. They'll be judged anyways, right in that second and moment. No matter what they think, the Creator's already judged them. Before they even said it or did it, they were judged. That's how sure it is. They're thinking something doesn't change anything. Then it needs to prove it's right. So then it creates more things, laws it makes up to prove that the first thing is right. It's always doing this about self. That's all it cares about. It doesn't care about truth. It just cares about its image of self, and being right creates an image. Being wrong creates a bad image. And that's all someone ends up caring about is their image. Just that they're right, that they're God, and that you're not, so that you can get stepped on and step on them. That's it. And when any kind of good or truth is done, that's what you'll be accused of doing regardless anyways. Whether you did good or evil, whether I did good or evil, that's the only thing you'll be accused for by this world, is that you did evil every time. It doesn't matter. That's all that you can be accused by of this world. If you did the good, you'll be accused for doing evil. The same thing that the world does, because that person is in death and darkness and is that, and that's all they can see. They can't see whatever good is. So when they read scripture and pretend to believe it, I believe my Bible, it's in there all the time. They can't see it. The offensive, highly wicked to people that claim to believe is in his word constantly, and they don't see that they hate it. They hate it. They don't believe it. They don't like it. They don't love it. They can't even see that they hate it. They can't even see that it's there. They don't even know what Messiah's words are. What does it mean? Applying to reality. When it does apply to real life, they hate it. You'll get trashed. So then you give some scripture once something happens in real life, and you read the similar words, the same experience, and say, what about this? And they hate it. They're stumped. They can't believe it. They never applied or saw that way. The preacher man never taught them that's what it means, or how it applies in reality. It has nothing to do with reality. It's a delusion. That's what delusion is. All his word has nothing to do with reality and a delusion. It doesn't ever apply to real things and real life and real spiritual things in a delusion. It only applies in the delusion, in the church building, synagogue of Satan somewhere, where nothing's going on, where it's just like a casual social delusional party of trying to make people feel good, desperately trying to speak smooth words that will never do any good to those people and only continue their death and judgment, increasing it instead of doing good. They want to speak smooth, oily words, which the world does say a lot and doesn't believe, of what they want to hear, desperately wanting to hear. And the only interest that the false prophet has and the preacher man has that has nothing to do with the Father is pleasing those people so that it can be seen as a good person and cover and hide a lot of sin. No, only actual love covers sin. Sin doesn't cover sin. Actual love, works of love, covers a multitude of sins. Not sin, not wickedness, not faking and pretending to always be something you'll never be and aren't. Unless someone repents and denies themselves daily. Because I do read daily, not just once. Incredible. Is it fiery or what? The truth. Is it burning anyone? Burning myself. As if it doesn't burn self. Yes, it burns. That's what that devil smirk, that wicked heart, that winking, shuffling the feet, that angry, childish, insecure, wrathful heart, just wanting to eat you up and destroy you. That's what's in people's heart in the church world. That's what's being hidden and kept secret in their mind. Haven't they ever read of the many called that none of them make it to the promised land? Nobody that follows someone that's like Moses, natural, carnal, can make it. It cannot do them any good. They can only think it is, but in the end, they don't make it. They never did enter the kingdom, the promised land. Now, starting now, and to come, it's going to have to be seen. It's going to have to be seen. It's going to have to be exposed. There's nothing secret that can be secret forever. It's not. Everything that's hidden will be as if it always was. It's going to be seen. It's going to be exposed utterly. It's happening now. It's true now. But there is a certain truth that something must happen in the future that's not happening in the same way right now. It's not fully exposed yet, but it's getting there. And the more someone grows and believes, the more exposed they are themselves. They're more exposed daily. It's applying right now, growing now, exposed more. Everything that's hidden must be revealed now. What on earth are they talking about in there? Now. Those words mean something now for people that believe now. They're going to be more exposed every single day, every year to the end, till there's nothing hidden, till there's no more hiding for all sin, whatever it is, whatever hiding is, all sin, all hiding has to be revealed right now. Starting now, continuing now to the end, which is the end of someone's race, their life has to keep going to the end. Then there's the end, the end that this world likes to talk about a lot because it loves death. It wants this sick end. It wants death on people. It wants that to come. But if it comes, then it hates it. Confused, contradicting hypocrite, smoking in Gehenna fire and not the lake of fire. It's not doing them any cleansing. It's just burning them, just destroying them. It's destroying all life in them until they're dead completely, deader than dead. In the deader than dead right now, the firstborn of the dead, Pharaoh dead, because there's the firstborn of Egypt. This is powerful. They're dead, they're deader than dead. It's a different level of a more restraint has let loose on these people for whatever reason. The Father knows perfectly. It's a deeper death. They are what the image of the beast is, like perfectly being manifested, like perfectly. Here's the devil. Here's what evil is. Here's what mankind is. The firstborn of the Pharaoh dead. There it is. There's like the devil manifested in the flesh. There it is. It's getting everyone to believe massive images on a greater level with numbers, lots of numbers, and getting a sorcery and a deceiver that deceives millions, not just few people, or even, hundreds of thousands, millions, and billions. And it creates this image, but it's a devil inside, rotten, and hates all those people viciously, violently hates them. But everyone will believe the lie, the image of the beast that person sold and created, that they love them and do these things for them, when it wants to murder them, literally even, and destroy them utterly. There is no hope for someone that's always Pharaoh. It can only come after anybody, his people specifically, and try to destroy them in the end. And they get flooded for it. And the death, that's nothing to them. That's what they'll act like. No big deal. But they're living that death right now, every day. They're being flooded by the Creator. Right now, they're being flooded. They're in a miserable, wretched, poor, blind, naked death right now. And they're going to try to make it sound like that's no big deal. Why? To hide that it is a big deal and it's in a lot of death. Incomprehensible death. Unimaginable death. It's always chasing them. They have no life. There's no light. A good day to them is like a little bit of mercy from the Father above, but it's not what good actually is. It's just what they think is good, and the Father gives them what they think is good. Even gives that to people. We have to want what's actually good, because if we so badly want something that's not actually good, but we think it's good, we'll get it. Most likely get it. Why is that true? Careful what you wish for, you might get it. Because of the Father's judgment being true. Because that's how he works. That's who he is. It's like a little rotten child. Okay, you need to find out what this is. Yeah, you do, and you'll find out someday. You'll see it, how rotten and evil and worthless it was. But right now, you have to be in the process of that so that end could come, so that you could see it, that it was nothing and evil and worthless, that you were just in a delusion all along and couldn't face reality. That would be everyone. That's what repentance is. It's waking up to the Father himself, his Spirit, saying, hello, I exist. You never believed it. You only said so. You never actually believed it. You'll see what real belief is when you get it, when this is given. You don't know what real belief is. You only think the fake belief is real belief. You only think saying, I believe, is the real belief. You'll know the difference. It won't be confusing when that gift comes. And then people will think you're incredibly wicked and prideful for seeing the difference and knowing the difference and saying it. When it's as easy, naturally, compared to the spiritual, as discerning between an orange and an apple. Two different trees, two different fruits works. It's not prideful. All day long, Messiah sounds prideful. Not actually prideful. Sounds prideful all day long. For an image, yeah. All day long it sounds prideful what he says. I am the way, the truth, and the life. That's incredibly prideful to this world. You have someone say that out loud to a crowd, well, they just might believe it, right? But to get the point, the picture of reality, that's going to be violently prideful. Those words and what they mean, if they're said, if they were said out of truth, like it was said, would be violently prideful and evil to someone. Then they go and 5 seconds later and go to some church or something and say they believe. They could read those words and they have no clue. They can't remember anything when it goes against them. They have a convenient misfiring of all memories when it has to do with them doing evil. They don't remember any evil they ever did to anybody.
all the evil they've ever done. They just conveniently forget. But they remember all the evil someone else has done to them and conveniently always forget. They will utterly act. Yes, they are doing this. People are doing this. They'll never acknowledge it. They're wanting to forget. They're trying to forget. They don't want to remember. They'll act like they can't hear you because they're God. And if they don't like what they hear, they're going to try to act and make it look like they didn't hear you because they don't even want to go there. That's how much hatred there is towards that, whatever it is. Enmity. Some people manifest this more, but it's the same heart. You talk, you say their name, and they don't listen. They never respond until you scream, Bob! Oh, my window's open. I probably sound like an insane person to some of my neighbors or something. Too bad. What am I supposed to do? Desperately try to get them to believe something? Please believe my image. Please. I'm not insane, I swear. I don't even care about that anymore. But I know it needs to get better. It's definitely not perfect. There's who knows how much better it needs to get. What was I saying? Bob? Bob. It went blank. Trying to convince self of something that isn't true. Look how often it's being done. When we read, keep the command, if you want life, keep the commandments. This is what we read is meaning and talking about these very things that nobody thinks is important, is worthless, is garbage, you're insane, are the very things that only are important and can give life if someone keeps the commandments. If you want life, keep the commandments. We're talking about the commandments. All these sins are connected to all the commandments. All these wicked intentions and hiding in the heart's intentions towards others has to do with life constantly and what you do to others, what you don't do to others constantly has to do with reality constantly. That's what the commandments have to do with. This is what it is. Just not everything, just this spiritual things of what this world's doing, what we're doing, what we're not doing. That's what it is. Keep the commandments. If you do evil, think this is garbage, mock at sin, well then expect a strong judgment and death, and you'll have to bear it like everyone does. You have to do it even if you can't. You have to do it anyways. Too bad. It's not an easy way for Cain. There is a way. It's not easy. Neither way is easy, but there is the good way that leads to life, and then there's the Cain way, the way of the wicked, that is prideful and highly envious and jealous constantly of someone else's product and business and house and car and this and that and whatever. Constantly. What do? Since that's a massive sin, in reality, you pretend like you're not jealous because you cannot actually know whatever sin is and good is and be in agreement with it. So you have to hide and pretend you're not envious of someone. Watch and see how often that's being done constantly, even by so-called friends. They might twitch a little. They'll give some signs when they really, really don't like what they just heard and are in full-blown disagreement with it. But because of the situation, they might have to suck up so that, they can use somebody for their own gain, their friend, so-called. And overall, it's better for my image than it is worse. These calculations of the image of the beast have to be made by someone in their own mind. You have to sort of put up with it, which is not really putting up with it. It's just forcing yourself to, for what you really do hate, you're not putting up with it. You really hate it. and want it to go away and would like to slash someone for it. But because overall, what you think is happening and going on right now, it's going to be better for my image and money and product. Then this thing over here, I just have to I just have to make it go away so I can make money, and get fame, get my name and face and image everywhere in people's mind. That's what they want, that's what people want. See how badly they want that. See how desperate they are for that. It's evil. It has nothing to do with caring about people. Their definition of caring for people is by doing something with a product for you, which is for their gain. How can't people see that's always the only intention? It's for their benefit. If they're doing something that looks like it's good, it's for their benefit. You can count on it for their money making. That's why they're doing it. You take away the money, they would never even pretend to do that good if they don't believe they can make money somehow. Who believes that? Well, they give you the signs and clues in Hollywood all the time. They've done it in movies. The devil makes fun of itself and exposes itself that this is what it is. But only when it's come out of truth and light does everyone rage. You can say the same words all day long in a delusion, being in darkness and loving darkness. When you're saying it out of hiding your sins, out of delusion and laughing at it, because none of that's real, then you can say that in this world and not be murdered. When you say the same words out of clarity and truth, you have to be killed all the day long. No one can love that. That's of the image of the beast, of the God of this world. No one can love that. That's of the Elohim of this world. They cannot love that. It's their life. That's their soul. It can only think about self and raising self up. It would like its own head on Mount Rushmore. It would give them a rush. They would like 50,000 heads that big and way bigger if it could. Just a giant head on the earth of them. Here it is, head. And if it crushed everyone all at once in order for it to be so, then it would do it. 7 billion something people died so the head could fit on the earth of its own image. And it licks itself and worships itself. And it gets down on its knees and does all kinds of things for itself. How sick is that? How sick is humanity? How sick is Adam? Who and what Adam is sick. No good. No wonder Adam needs to die. It's vile. And Messiah vomits out the lukewarm. This lukewarm thing is who and what mankind is. That's what lukewarm is. Everything, everyone. It's saying the words real quick while doing evil always and finding the easiest way. Always the path of least resistance. And saying that you can straddle two things at the same time when it's not even possible. And that's the whole world lukewarm. Who isn't lukewarm? That's the most nasty thing. I guess like a full-blown literal serial killer. Well, I mean, even that's lukewarm because they're masquerading and pretending to be something they're not. There is some of that going on constantly. But I guess that would be just more up straight up cold, literally. About as cold as literal you can get is to literally kill someone, murder them, which is what a lot of beasts are restrained from doing. Exactly what they are doing in their heart. They're murdering someone, but they can't finish it. They can't do it literally because they would get, in fear of getting in trouble, fear of their soul going to prison. It would be bad for their image and their own life. That's a little bit of restraint. The law is for the unrighteous, not for the righteous. The law is for the unrighteous. That's not said out of to say so you can be prideful and sound good saying it. This means something. It means something powerful. The law is for the unrighteous. Under his favor, under his mercy, his grace, his power, his way, his things is completely different. It's not about saying, do this, something you can't even do, and do it. And if you do it, you become right. It doesn't work like that at all. Nevertheless, the law still exists.
Even though it's not working like that, the law is still true and exists. This mercy and grace is the opposite of law keeping. It's the perfect opposite. It's acknowledging and denying self that it cannot keep any of it. And that is the way. Father Moore accepts that. That is the way. Anything else besides that is sin and rebellion. That's what the narrow way of favor, grace is versus the law, keeping laws. Do this and you must, or else or else. Is to deny self and say that you can't do it in your heart for whatever it is. That's what it is. That's what his favor is. That's the only way. Can't do it. Can't do any good. No one can do any good. I can't do any good of self. That is the only way. That's what people will end up hating the most because they're self-righteous. It's who and what they are. They want something to do for themselves that makes them righteous. They can't. They only believe in a delusion that's true. No one is righteous. That's what those words mean right now. Doesn't mean anything else. Torment. Torment. I don't want to go there. I can't think of that. No, no. See, all along the church world, when it says that, they're thinking something else. Doesn't mean what it really means to them. Doesn't mean what it really means in heaven. They don't believe whatever that really means. When you try to explain what it means and then give the scripture, it's utter torment to someone. No, and that's just something everyone has to face. It gets better if someone would face it and acknowledge it. Then the truth will be replacing the lie. Something good will come to replace it. It won't be nothingness. It's just that's a part of self that has to die, that it doesn't want to die. It was wrong. It was evil. It doesn't know. It's its own world. It's all falling apart. And that's great, great torment to someone. That's why we read that they're tormented day and night in the presence of the Lamb. Yes, the unbelieving. They're tormented every day in the presence of the Lamb, day and night. This torment is righteousness coming at it, light coming at it, and it's tormenting them because that's how much they hate good and truth. If it were not so, they wouldn't hate it, or it wouldn't torment them, torments them just like, but now it's about the opposite things. But this is the same thing, torment, but for the 180. Sodom and Gomorrah starts tormenting someone that's learning and growing and becoming more like the Father's image and not the image of the beast every day, which is to be selfless and more denying self and giving freely with no anything attached ever at any time, with no debt put on someone, which is expectations, heavy yokes and bondage, debt put on someone, which is trying to control them. That's what the chains are for, right? You control your slave. This is vile, evil. People don't see it. They don't see that they're evil. This is evil. To want to do that to someone is not loving them at all. It's not. They can try to convince themselves that it is. It will never work. It's not. It's not. And they are paying for it right now. That death that they're in is paid for, paying for it. It's causing death. That's why we read sin brings forth death. It's not talking about fake things. If I move this to the right, that's death. But if I move this physical thing to the left, it has nothing to do with the heart's intentions. This is about real things that the apostles, speaking of, that we read, that Messiah speaks of, is speaking, teaching constantly for anyone that has ears to hear, of real spiritual things that matter, that are the intentions of the heart, that the world has nothing to do with, doesn't want to have anything to do with. It just says the words real quick when it needs to in a sticky situation. That's it. It doesn't actually care at all. So its definition of, some carnal, physical, merchandise thing, worldly thing, it has nothing to do with the truth. Sin in their mind and heart, since they don't know what death really is, They don't agree with it. How can someone at war against the Creator agree with the truth, which is that death is death and enmity against the Creator? They can't agree with that or know that until it's given, until they repent, see it. So until then, it just stays that way, enmity. And they believe something false about that has nothing to do with the truth. When they see the truth about what it's really meaning, it utterly will torment them. They'll go nervous, they'll go blind, real blind, because then their heart starts stabbing you. When someone's heart starts doing even worse to you, they go even blinder right on the spot. The Father will make them blinder as they stab you more. And then they have to try to cover that they're stabbing you. What kind of misery is that? That's hard work to always pretend to love someone and care about them as your job. Your job is I pretend to care about people and pretend to love them. I'm a false shepherd. What a hard job. Wow. What a crazy hard bondage, cold, brutal job. And all fake with nothing to do with reality, nothing to do with real love at all. And it's going to be shown to that person that that was so. Can you imagine? Well, that's what's happening to believer, just a little here, a little there. But can you imagine anybody that can see what that would be to them? Just how tormenting and surprising and shocking that is. Fearful, even. But better now for a little here, a little there to cut off that which causes sin. A little here, a little there to receive some kind of truth and sight and understanding over time than to just be suddenly shown. Boom. You were a fraud in delusion. Your literal life was a delusion. Wow, that's powerful. And that's what's going to be shown. Oh, they'll have to believe it. They'll see all the proof for it. There won't be a way out. But for now, someone can believe in their lie and think that it's true and real and right. So long as that fire doesn't come on the earth all at once like Messiah badly wants to happen, because he's so wicked to the church world. He just wants to burn everyone and torture them forever. He just longs for the fires of hell to burn everyone and torture them forever. They don't know what this means, what he means, or what the intentions are and what it will produce. Have no clue and don't care, don't want to have a clue. Very real. We read how he wished it would already be kindled. Everything would be kindled already, burned up. Yeah, what a wicked man. See, when someone's only got evil in their heart, all the good they hear will only be evil to them. And to those that see, to the pure, all things are pure. To the impure, all things are impure. It really does mean that. To the impure, all things are impure. That's what they'll believe in their heart and see. That's what it means. In real life, in their mind, actual good will be actually impure to them. Pretty powerful. Shocking. That's a deception, obviously. Strong delusion to not love good and call good good and evil evil. That's what man needs to know and learn. Is exactly what the devil says you already know, that I already know. No, we don't. It's a lie. Nobody knows good, nobody knows evil until they need to learn it the rest of their life from above. It's not going to come from some heretic that's drooling for more jets and money, drooling for more whatever they want. The image of the beast worship and power and lust and feel good, so-called carnal feel good, which destroys people. It's just a giant trick. And the bigger they get, the more they become like a giant fish that just swallows the little fish without even noticing. And just swallowed 10 million fish and didn't even notice. Swallowing camels? Can't even make this up. It's exactly what Messiah taught, it's what his word teaches. Swallowing camels is huge, important things just thrown away at the wind like they're not even there. Just, oh, you just swallowed a camel, no big deal. Well, that was huge. How did you do it? That's the point. It's impossible. It's impossibly evil, and that's what's happening. When it comes to tiny little straining of the gnat, then everyone, that's, you make that tiny little thing into a whale, into everything, into something huge constantly, making something nothing, worthless, so that you can find fault in someone on purpose and want to find fault in them constantly. Does that ring any bells between like son and parents and son, parents and daughter, family? Does that ring any bells? Is that striking to be like true on a deep level of hurt that's too uncomfortable, too hard to acknowledge? Well, hopefully someone can, though, because then otherwise no healing will come. No healing will come if the truth isn't acknowledged for real. And the Father knows the difference between sorry, I said it, and what's real, true sorry. He knows the difference. Just because someone says God knows my heart has nothing to do. That doesn't prove that the Father did something for them because they said so now. Crazy. Yes, he does know everyone's heart. Talking about yourself, person. Talking about yourself. He knows you're lying right now, and you said that for a lie. He knows that. You're right. Are they going to care? No. But deep down inside, there is a hate, though, for truth, so it wants to murder you. It does care about what it looks like to other people. You just tried to trash me. That's all you care about. That's what they're going to get out of it. You speak truth to someone, they'll just see it as you tried to trash my image, because that's all it does to others. That's all it can see, for real. That's all it can see. So when good comes their way, the only thing that will be on their mind is you. They don't care about what's being talked about. Could care less about the sin. Could care less about hatred for people, envy people. Doesn't care about any of that. It's just a delusion. That's just a trap for self-gain, more money. It only cares that it's been spotted, exposed, and or when truth is given, you're trying to trash that person. You're trying to trash their image. That's why you said what you said. That's what they'll believe every time. That's what they have to believe. You can't expect anything else from anyone and get anything else from anyone. If something else were to come, it would be like, wow, what a great miracle. Father must have had mercy on this person or that person. This is impossible, what I'm seeing. It's impossible. I never see this, ever. This is amazing. Maybe that's why there's that much joy when someone repents, because it is shocking and amazing. Has anyone considered what that really means? Why? Why is this like such a big deal? It's, you start becoming more and more of what we have to become. Therefore, wow, this is like huge. Someone's repenting. Wow. Whoa, wow, huge. That's amazing. That's not, that can't happen to someone that doesn't know the Father at all, that doesn't believe at all. They're still wicked. They have a deceitful, wicked heart completely with no light in them. How could they actually rejoice for something good when that's exactly what they hate? You can't fake real. You can't pretend. And when we say you can't, it means you can't get away with it for real. You can do it. You can try. You can trick people. Can't actually do it, though, and trick the Creator. You can't change, I can't change his judgments at all. And it doesn't matter if you say, I'll wait 3 seconds before I back up, then a car won't come. Or I'll wait 5 seconds and not 3 seconds. Doesn't matter. No matter what you do, and then when you back up, you'll forget, and the car will be right there just like last time. but I'm not talking about that literal thing. It's just a picture. Can't escape his judgments, can't escape anything. I think that's it for, I don't know, never know for how long, you know. It may seem like if something's happening pretty consistently every other day, every third day, but it's always been, I don't know, and then when that happens, it's not likely to be believed, not very likely to be believed. That's what faith is I don't know. People who know are in delusion. Nobody knows of themselves. Denial of self, not knowing is knowing. Walking in the spirit, believe by not knowing our own ways, our own things, and just believing. Which is, man, just some cheap, quick words to say for this world. Just believe, even though it is true, is not knowing. Faith is not knowing. Faith is not knowing. If someone is knowing for real, it's not faith, is it? People don't like that. Don't want to see faith. They'll prove to you they never wanted to see faith and what's good and true and real. So backwards in everything, in every way, in every shape and form. It's amazing that's how backwards we are. Hard to even imagine a world where it's flipped 180. It seems impossible to imagine. What on earth would that be? Since everything man does is evil and all his intentions are evil and all greedy and crooked and wicked, what on earth would that look like? I can't quite imagine it. Literally, can't quite imagine it. I don't know for sure. It wouldn't look like this, that's for sure. It wouldn't look like this world wicked. It's getting worse and worse. The image of the beast is being unleashed, meaning to wicked people, to the natural man, everyone's wicked, but to the unbeliever, this world's getting better and better because more and more carnal wickedness and things are being said and done out in the open, and supposedly no one cares, so it's just slipping by. More and more perversion, especially sexual perversion, is getting into the commercial. It's stunning. You know what they're talking about for movies? Advertising some kind of Hulu? What does Hulu have to do with, I'm not going to even say the words here, and they're saying it. It has everything to do with that. That's all it's ever been. Wake up. Does that just, oh, I care about the image. That's all it's ever been is pornography. That's it. That's all they've ever shown on TV, for movies, for streaming services. It's just being unleashed. That's it. It's just being manifested. That's the sign of the times. That's not good. That's not a very good sign for much time left before a nation gets wiped like a bull. It's happened thousands of times, probably. I don't know how many nations fell for all time. For the very reasons speaking of right now is why it will fall again. And it seems a lot different this time around. This world's so shrunk and small. The whole world is seen and it's shrinking. So it's all going to fall all at once. What a perfect plan. Wow, that's stunning. All of it's going to fall right at the perfect time, all at once. That is a stunning plan. That can't be stunning for somebody that loves the world, in and of the world, only thinking about self gain and self and perversion. And the more wicked someone gets, the more unleashed they are, the more perverted they must become, the more perverted they think they are themselves, even more. The little restraint is being loosed, unleashed. Unleash the ultra beast, unleash the triple ultra beast. And the signs are everywhere that's what's happening. They even tell you word for word. Unleash the ultra beast, not just one place, quite a bit, sprinkled out everywhere. The devil loves taking pride in the evil it is and does. It's so stupid, blind, and foolish that it takes pride in the evil that it does. But if you expose their evil, it rages. But all day long, it can tell you in movies, it can tell you here, it can tell you there, and show off that it's doing evil and laugh about it. When you say the same words and expose the real evil, it rages because when they did it, it had nothing to do with the truth. They're doing that for some wicked, blind intention. But when the spirit of truth comes to someone and someone, anyone, is speaking out of the Father's Spirit, it violently makes the beast go crazy because it's speaking out of light, out of truth, not joking, not delusional, clear headed about who and what people's heart is. And that makes someone rage because it came from above. That's why they killed Messiah, because he's from above. That's what we're supposed to become. That's what they're going to kill us for constantly, daily, until it's over, till they likely literally kill. That's probably what happens to most of the believers at the end, is some kind of cold, brutal ending. But somehow he'll be there. It's like the amount of mercy or faith has to be so strong to be able to go through and handle that and overcome that, though. Incredibly strong it has to be. And that's how he can, that's a big deal. That's changing someone. That contrast is this getting stronger. Then you can see even more what good is and what evil is at the end, more than you ever did before the end. I don't want to put a scale or numbers, stupid numbers on there, but I think compared to just what this world is and just what's so popular, that this is a higher number, spiritually speaking. It just is. And I don't see too many people able to hear the words or love it. Not many. Because that's what I read. That's why. I don't read none or zero. Never gonna want to say that. Just not many. Because that other thing is a lie. That's a lie. It needs to be said it's a lie. That's zero, nobody. One or two, none, zero. That's a lie. Someone could start saying something out of pride. No, that's a lie. Just not many. There's nothing we can do about it. We can't change his word. It's always been not many. If you try to make it many, you are already doing the devil's works. That's it. You're already falling. Nobody ever believed they fell from anything, right? Fell from grace. The world just sort of mocks it. It's like takes pity in itself. I fell from grace. I sing about it. Fall from grace, whatever it is, constantly talking about their death. And they take pride in it while they hate it and are confused about it. People need a lot of help and healing. People get offended easily for nothing. I hope that's not. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that happening. It just has to be so, though. I don't want to see it. People will get offended for nothing, for anything. They have to ask themselves why. The real reasons why. No physical thing proves anything. None of that matters. No materialistic, physical merchandise thing
is the actual proof. You don't have to do what someone thinks, like this world thinks you need to look like you're doing for you to be doing something. That's just the sick world that's putting a debt on you, an image on you that they believe and think you need to do and look like you're doing to look like you're doing the image, because you do have to look like you're doing the image to sell the image of the beast. That's what it is. You have to look like you're doing something, and if you don't, the more truth someone's given, the less they're going to try, and the less they're going to look like they're doing something. It's going to offend someone and make people angry. You try to use that against you and say you're doing evil because you don't look like you're doing good to them, when they don't realize that trying to look like something is what sin and rebellion and evil is. They'll never agree with that or see that. How can they do that? They're attacking it. Yes, in a cold world, there's not very good chance that someone actually cares or has any love for someone. But just because something doesn't look like that's true, it'll just be automatically assumed that it's not, because the image wasn't sold. What do they want us to do? Sell the image of the beast? Do exactly what we're told not to do? That he puts in the heart not to want to do anymore because it's evil and sick and fake and fraudulent? Because you don't look like something that proves something? Well, that's pretty strong. It's pretty strong. That's it's going to want to be believed because it doesn't look like something. Always go back to Messiah and what he did. Did he sell images of the beast? Did he desperately try to need to get someone to believe something about himself, that he cares desperately? No, only the works will prove that. You don't have to do or look like anything for the rest of your life, for decades. Those works still stand and prove that. That's not what someone's going to believe. Obviously, they didn't believe that when you want to kill him and put him on a stake and murder him and watch him die. Obviously, someone doesn't believe those words, do they? When you want him to die, even though there was some that didn't, that were like on his side, if you will, and even they were still carnal and didn't know what they wanted or not wanted. But it's true, they didn't want to see that. But they were still carnal. But yeah, most of them, though, I believe most of them, a lot of enemies. There's always way more enemies than not. Wanted him dead. What a brutal thing. And then mock, laugh, and scoff at you while you're dying. Who can handle that without any hatred back, without any evil back towards someone? Who can do that? No one, not even Messiah, but he did it because of denying himself, because he knows he can't do it of himself. He can do nothing. So no one else can be greater than the master. That's why we read that. No one is greater than their master. What's the greatest thing the master did? Get real low. Therefore, no one can go above getting real low, because the master didn't go up high in pride. No one can be greater than their master. And the master didn't rise above others, but went below. Didn't come to be served like a God-man king, like every king of this world that's always lived and always will be. And we're not talking about literal kings only. Everyone's a king in their own mind. They even reward themselves for nothing. They just say so because I feel like it. I deserve the world. I deserve everything after all the evil and murder and lust and adultery and monstrous things I've done in the last 3 months, let alone my last three, you know, my last life, my whole life. I deserve some good now. I deserve some, rewards. I'll reward myself since the Father won't reward me. Does that sound familiar to anybody? I'm God. I'll reward myself because I'm doing good and I'm getting angry and I'm insecure and I'm always right and nobody else is ever right. And I hate everyone really, but I'll pretend when I need to love them. And then their friends
will support it. Why? Why does it look like they care? Because it's sin. That's why they're excited to say, yeah, yeah, reward yourself. You deserve it. That's why they do that, because it has to do with sin. They're happy to see their friend, so-called, in sin, and they're wanting them to go into more sin. They'll never acknowledge it. They can't face this. They're lying to themselves, and they're blind for it and in death for it. And they'll never acknowledge it so long as they keep doing that. Obviously, how could they acknowledge it? They only can look like they love their friend and support their friend when it has to do with their friend, so-called, sinning and doing evil. Any kind of evil, small or great. You can support someone. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do this, do this. Take a, yeah, 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 yeah. That's a good idea. Take a hit of, crack. I want to see you destroyed. Yeah, 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 yeah. Do that. I'm excited. I like seeing others do what I do and the death I'm in. I need to see others do it to confirm the death I'm in and to make myself feel better by killing others. You know that is murder. That's killing others. It's murdering others and wanting them to be murdered. We're not talking about literal murder, only talking about the real murder, which is a spiritual murder, which is the only murder in heaven that means anything and is the real. That's the murder. When we read, you shall not murder, it doesn't mean you shall not murder according to man's carnal, worthless mind that doesn't see or know anything. Whatever he thinks that is, it doesn't have anything to do with that at all. Zero, none. No, this is the do not steal, do not murder. These are the real things in heaven, the things that the carnal man and mind cannot love and cannot be in agreement with or see. So then, someone can look like they have a lot of friends, but do they? Do they even have one? Because if all those friends are doing evil and happy to see it sin and love to secretly have you destroyed and always lie to your buddy, your so-called friend, always lying too, that's not a friend. That's an enemy disguised as a friend, getting something out of you. So just find out what they're getting out of you, just using you. It's, it's incredibly sad because of how strong this is everywhere. By the time that there's anything good or real, it's going to try to make that real good thing look like the wicked lie. It's going to try to look just like it. And if people can't see the difference, then they might be offended. They might think that there is no good way or good thing, and that there's no, and it gets real nasty like that. And that's not true either. I wonder what was on the news today. Haven't heard or listened to anything for a long time. Just here and there, just hearing something from somebody out there. Besides rockets, shooting rockets or something, and just trying to blow the crap out of people up and literally kill them, blowing their land up, whatever. I don't know. It's all sick. It's all deceit. It's all lies. You constantly have to lie when you're doing that much evil to believe even remotely anything that you hear on the news or what these frogs have to say is utterly blind. There, there's nothing that should be blindly, remotely, just automatically believed that they say. They're all in delusion and lying. And if they try to prove that, look, I spoke truth about this, this is black, that's the kind of proof that they're going to try to put a sorcery on you and say, because I did this once or twice and said, called black for black, you should believe me everywhere else. We're not talking about that. It's not what truth is, calling black black, literally, carnally. I'm not speaking of that truth. It should not be believed at all. No one can be worshipped and trusted and believed. That's worshiping the man. We were not to worship the man. Not to worship anyone except the creator. That's it. That would include everything and everything that's not the creator. That's not to be worshipped. But people don't want to acknowledge in this world what worship is. Fans is worship. Oh, there's nothing nastier than 30,000 beasts going there so that they can unleash their vicious hatred and pride onto a bunch of people that they can hate. The losers, the false bad team, the team we hate, boo, and then try to cover it all up by saying it's just a game. It's just a game. It's just a game. Calm down. It needs to tell itself that it's just a game. Calm down. It's doing wickedness with it. And every now and then, if you heard a clip, probably shouldn't be heard, where you hear something real loud in the crowd, like on a video or something, get a piece for it. And it's somebody screaming, raging. They're literally raging. They're out of their mind raging. Let it be known, let it be said that they're not faking it. They're raging. And they're screaming obscenities and all kinds of nasty cursings. And they viciously hate the person or persons that they're screaming at. And these fans will do it to their own gods when they don't do what they think they should to make their image. I spent money. This creates an image for me. And my team is doing garbage. Then they'll start throwing trash, start throwing bottles at them. So incredibly wicked. Those aren't fans of those people, and those players don't love or care about the fans at all. When those works are done constantly, it proves that there is nothing real between them. They're both just using each other, and someone needs to hug someone and go crazy when it's popular so that they can attach their image to LeBron James or some popular, rich, and famous person, some scientist, whatever. Who cares? It doesn't matter who it is. It's all the same. So that everyone can see that person. It's all about themselves, and they need the recognition, and they need to be seen and worshiped. So it just goes and finds the winners only. Winners, 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 the good images. And if you don't look good, you're done. You're a piece of garbage. You're going to get murdered and killed all day long, like we read. For anyone that doesn't worship the image of the beast, talking about real life, reality every single day, applying to everything and everywhere. This applies to me, this applies to you. To anyone that doesn't worship the image of the beast and what it is, they'll be sent. They'll be out for you to kill you all day long. Don't expect anything else. Can't expect anything else. That's all that they can be and do. If you don't worship your image, if the people are sensing, they won't know what it is. They'll see something, though. They'll sense it. They'll see something. They'll see the works. They just don't like it, don't want to have anything to do with it, don't know what it is, don't understand it, but they'll see the works. If they see you not worshiping your image, they'll hate you, and they have to kill you in their heart, period. They can't do anything different than what I read, that the Creator's word says. They can't do anything different, like the Creator's wrong about some people or something. Never wrong about anyone at any time for any reason. Every generation always true. Before any generation always true. I think I'll stop here. Go crazy, go nuts. Well, I guess that's what's happening anyways. That's what's happening anyways, going insane. I mean, it's supposed to be a good insane, it's going in that direction, not like literally horrible, evil insane, but there is a good insane. There's a good for every evil, and man only knows the evil. He has to learn the good. He doesn't even know it's evil. He calls evil good. They read that, don't they read that? They call evil good. Who's the they? Everyone. What did Adam and Eve do? They called good evil and evil good. Yes, they did. Their works proved it. They didn't know what good was. They don't know what obedience was. They disobeyed. That's all they could know is disobey and rebellion. It doesn't know what obedience is. It could never do it of itself. It has to deny itself.
That's something that someone's going to have to continue to accept more and more under his favor, more today than yesterday. And it's going to be a difficult thing to accept continually. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a war. It's going to be a struggle. Teeter-totting back and forth, saying there's no way, there must not be a way. How do you do this? How do you do this? That's the point. There is no way. We can't see it. Can't do it. It's just finally acknowledging that truth, which is what humble is, which is the opposite of pride, which is roaring like a lion. Saying, wow, that was loud. Can popped right as I said that. Scared me. And roaring like a lion and making popping noises, inside smoking, in pride, angry at its own self and in its inability to do something, but it tries to hide that it's angry for its inability to do something. That's why someone gets angry and rages when they can't do something. Maybe at their work and they just throw it across the whole entire room. They rage because they're not able to do something. Why is that? Because it's worshiping and loving its own image and self so much that it doesn't want to see proof of not being able to do something. So then it rages because it's got a lot of pride still a lot of God man inside. Rages for not being able to do something because there was proof that you're not God, that I'm not God, the creator, Elohim, and that there's a difficulty or something that can't be done. And that's proof that you're not the creator, that I'm not the creator. But the devil said, you are Elohim. You shall be as Elohim. You shall be like God. You will be gods. That's what he says, the lie. The lie is already believed. So someone will rage if that lie is exposed, that they're not the creator. This isn't about screaming in the middle of the street, I am literally the creator. I am the creator. This is not what that means. World won't acknowledge this. They won't accept this. That's works for proof. Proof for works. The works prove that someone believes they're the creator. That's how much pride there is in there. Because it proves that you can't do something. That's why someone gets angry. Because it has to do with self and the insecure punishment for all that pride is to be highly insecure. Oh, someone has a better piece of paper than me, and it rages. That's how you can expect it to get worse and worse in the wide gateway. Every year it will get worse and more dumb and more blind and stupid and more hopeless. It was better earlier than the latter end for sure. But it should be the other way around in belief, changing. The end concerning all these spiritual things should be perfected. Yeah, way better, obviously, than the beginning. First the natural, then the spiritual. Not the natural first, not the spiritual first, but the natural. Well, I think that's it for now. Hopefully, everyone's doing all right. But, in life, in reality, that's not going to be the case every minute. Of course not. No, not everyone's doing all right. That might even include believers, but that's the point. That's what faith and belief is. It's out of not seeing something or believing it the way we should believe it and see it, because nobody can hope for what they already have and see. That's why we read that. That's what hope is. It's hope and belief that it'll get better, that Father will make it better, come around. As long as someone's believing that and praying for that, if not, well, then they shouldn't expect it to ever change. Shouldn't expect life, shouldn't expect any change. And when someone's down,
It doesn't seem possible that anything could ever happen again that's good. And when someone's lifted up, it doesn't seem possible ever again that they could be down. I think both are wrong. Both are prideful. All right. Peace, take care, seek truth from above.